They said it would never happen. 4 decades, governments classified, buried, and denied. Thousands of witnesses silenced. Hundreds of cases sealed. And then, on May 8, 2026, the Pentagon opened the archive. 162 files, videos, photos, classified memos spanning nearly 80 years. But here's what they didn't tell you. The files confirm sightings, strange objects, impossible movements, lights that defy physics. What they don't tell you is who is flying them. And that's not an accident. Let's be clear about what happened. President Trump directed federal agencies to declassify UAP records. The result was a government website called Pursue, now hosting never-before-seen military footage, FBI documents, and NASA transcripts. There are objects making 90-degree turns at impossible speeds. There are infrared images from U.S. military platforms capturing things that have no explanation. There are Apollo mission transcripts that were never meant to be public. And after all of that, the official statement from the Pentagon was this: the public can draw their own conclusions. That's not transparency. That's a controlled leak. They gave you the what. They buried the who. Here's something that almost no mainstream outlet is covering. In 2001, U.S. Army Sergeant Clifford Stone testified before Congress under oath. He said he had personally cataloged and interacted with extraterrestrial biological entities during his military service. His number: 57 distinct species. 57. Not one, not a handful. 57 different civilizations that this government has documented, classified, and hidden from you. The files they released this week, they're the surface. What lies underneath has been compiled by researchers, by whistleblowers, by people who risked everything to bring this information forward. And today, we're going to start pulling back that curtain. Let's talk about 3 of the most documented species on record. The Greys. These are the ones you think, Small frame, large cranium, black almond-shaped eyes that seem to look through you, not at you. They are the most reported species in abduction accounts across 6 continents. Researchers link them to the Zeta Reticuli star system, a binary star system 39 light-years from Earth. But here's what most people get wrong. The Greys you've seen in pop culture, that's one type. There are at least 3 distinct subspecies, varying in height, skin tone, and behavior. Some appear to operate under a hive consciousness. No individual thought, pure collective function. They don't communicate with words. They don't need to. The Reptilians. This is where it gets uncomfortable. Because unlike the Greys, who are primarily associated with scientific observation, the Reptilians have been consistently described as something else entirely. Hierarchical, strategic, operating in positions of influence. Multiple whistleblowers from different countries, with no prior contact with each other, have described the same thing. A tall, bipedal species, scaled skin, vertical pupils, an intelligence that is ancient and patient. They are not visiting. According to some accounts, they never left. The Nordics. If the Greys unsettle you and the Reptilians disturb you, the Nordics will confuse you. Because they look almost exactly like us. Tall, fair-skinned, light eyes, physiologically indistinguishable from a human being in most accounts. They have been described as benevolent, as guides, as a civilization that has been attempting to communicate warning messages to humanity for decades. But here's the question that no one asks. If they look like us or we look like them, what does that tell you about our own origins? Now, I need to stop here for a second, because what I just described, that's 3. 3 out of 57. I spent months compiling research on 12 of the most documented extraterrestrial species ever recorded, their origins, their physical characteristics, their intentions, and their relationship with Earth. It's all in a guide called The 12 Species. Link is in the description. If you've ever wanted the full picture, not the surface level stuff, this is it. No, back to the files. Let's talk about what the newly released documents actually hint at without saying it directly. There is a memo from U.S. Northern Command describing a UAP encounter in 2024. There are Apollo 17 transcripts referencing 3 lights visible above the lunar terrain. The astronauts' official explanation? Chunks of ice. Chunks of ice that form a triangle above the moon. There are State Department cables, FBI reports, documents that traveled through the highest levels of the U.S. government, and all of them point to the same conclusion that no one in power is willing to state out loud. We are not alone. We have never been alone. And contact, in various forms, has been ongoing. The files they released are real, but they are curated. They showed you what they calculated you could handle. The rest, the species catalogs, the biological analyses, the contact protocols, remain sealed. For now, here's the thing about controlled disclosure. It works in stages. First, they normalize the idea. UAPs are real. The military tracks them. It's not crazy to talk about this anymore. Then, slowly, they move the window. They introduce more. They let researchers fill in the gaps. They watch how the public reacts. What happened on May 8th was not an act of transparency. It was step 1 of a calculated sequence. And the question you should be asking isn't what did they release? The question is, what comes next? If this video opened something for you, if you feel like you've only been given half the picture, you're right. The guide I put together covers 12 species in full detail. Origins, physical descriptions, behavioral patterns, documented cases, and what researchers believe their presence on Earth actually means. It's called the 12 Species. Link is in the description below. And if you're new here, this channel exists for one reason: to go where mainstream sources won't. Subscribe and stay with us, because this is only the beginning.